What's up, everyone? This is the Fraser LeVay podcast. We're here with Jared Campbell, which I think you
Quay.
should just start. I like saying Q though. Like Q just sounds cooler. Like John Q sounds good.
Yeah, it's almost like we call it, hey, it's Mr. Fraser L.
No,
Welcome
but
to
we
Fraser L. It
we
sounds
add
cool.
in the last name.
What?
Campbell, Jared Q Campbell. It's like
My name is Jared Quay Campbell. I'm gonna probably drop the Campbell eventually, so I get on airplanes once I'm famous, and I don't want people to be like Jared Quay Campbell's on the airport. So yeah, that's the goal. I'm thinking in the future.
I think you are famous, kind of, right? Especially with that nice haircut.
Like honestly, yeah. Like a part of me, I don't always do bad things. I'm like, somebody may know me here, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's what stops me from being like, yo, I should rob this place. Nah, somebody might know me.
What list do you think like you are? Have you had to say like you're a certain list?
All right. So is it A through F? Because that's all there. Or so we're gonna do the whole alphabet.
Ooh, okay.
No, Max, you a
Oh,
question.
I have no. I wonder like would I be
A
like
list. A list is Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Will Smith,
yeah.
Tyreek Hill. No, I'm joking. B list is Jessica Chastain,
Ooh,
Tracy Ellis Ross, right?
yeah.
This is like the second cast member on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like somebody you know, but you don't know their name. You got to Google.
Oh, that's a good one.
D-list is like that person is registered. I should know who they are, but I don't. But I may ask them for a picture. And then F-list is like you're verified on Twitter before you could buy it. And
Okay.
so yeah, I'm F-list, but that don't sound good. Nobody wants to say F-list. It sounds terrible.
No, if you could keep on going beyond F, like what would? Who do we know? Who do we know that's even like below? Like let's say I'm W list. Like, do we have anyone else?
W list is like your neighbor that you see and nod your head at, but you don't fully know their name. That's
Oh,
W.
wow. Oh,
Yeah.
so I'm way better than that then. So I've got to be in like the L range.
You're you're like the guy who does the Dougie. That's the guy that does the Dougie.
That's not cool. I don't want to be that. That's like 15 years ago. I've retired the Dougie, by the way, Jared. I'm not gonna let you make me do it anymore.
The Dougie is like the electric slide for you.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't use it enough anymore in my old days. So then when I try and do it, I tried to bust it out at our kids camp, like youth soccer camp this summer, and it wasn't there. Also, I wasn't drinking because it was a youth soccer camp.
Yeah, I think a Dougie's a drunk thing. You can't just be soberly doing
it. And then I just felt like I wasn't really hitting it. And I was like, and then their kids, they don't even know what the Dougie is. And I just felt so old. And I just retired it then and there.
Damn it, man. You let them punk ass kids stop our Dougie, man. That is crazy.
Maybe we can bring it back for the celebration, but in March or February.
Hey, when I come visit you, if you don't do the Dougie, I'm renouncing our friendship.
All right.
And I'm
going
to tell you,
a good Dougie off.
I'm going to do a cease and desist on this podcast because this will be your best podcast. If people will come back and look at this one and, they were like, damn, this is his Joe Rogan moment. And so, yeah, if you don't Dougie, I'm cease and desist.
All right. I'll try. Hopefully Ryan's there. Ryan, you, Josh, there'll be some good Dougiers on the dance floor.
Josh doesn't Dougie. Shout out to Josh Barnes. Anybody who's watching this that doesn't know Josh is the guy named Josh who can dance, but he doesn't. He just doesn't Dougie like he used to.
Big Smooth, we call him.
He's been on his podcast, right?
Yeah.
How come he's been on it? I haven't been on it.
You have been. You've been on it like 3 times.
Oh, I thought this is a sports one. I thought the last one was like me, you talking about traveling. Tell me about Believe. No, yeah. Travel guy. Hey, can I tell you how much it hurts? Because you're in my fantasy league, and apparently you're just a fantasy league whore. I don't know if I can use that term on here, but you are. You're on. Everybody has you in a fantasy league, and I'm like, yeah, Fraser's in my league. And they're like, yeah, he's in my league too.
That's a lie. You're in like 5 fantasy leagues.
You're literally like you're a fantasy train. Everybody's been there. Everybody knows you, man. Everybody knows you.
I'm upset you guys have one in that I'm not in. That upsets me, like a core.
We don't have one that you're not in, Fraser.
That seems like a lie. I saw that.
That was you trying to rebuttal what I just said to make you feel better. The truth is,
last year I saw.
Can I
Tom's in it?
Term? You're a fantasy football whore. That's a very bad term to use, but everybody's seen you. You've been in everybody's league. You're not precious anymore.
Well, I mean, that's why I started the website and the podcast, so then I could have,
After like 10,000 hours of being in different fantasy football leagues, I know everything to expect from everyone. I like that.
It's like I was being a fantasy whore for free, and now I'm charging. So like before, I was a fancy slut.
Wait,
now
I'm like a paywall. Do I have to
prostitute?
If you're here, welcome, guys. My name is Jared.
Jared Campbell, and we're talking 5 bold predictions from each of us. We're also going to talk any teams you want to fade or you're high on. I think we can sprinkle that in, and then some of your favorite bets. I've shared some of my favorite bets.
Oh,
I
this
want
is
you to share
betting
some of
too? I
yours.
thought this was just fantasy.
We do it all here. We're fantasy whores, like you said.
Oh,
We're going to rebrand the podcast, fantasy
fantasy
whores.
wars. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. OnlyFans. Get an OnlyFans sponsorship.
That sounds bad when it's not football. Like when you say fantasy horrors, that definitely is like
Yeah,
an
you got to put
actual
fantasy foot, FF
fantasy.
horse.
Yeah, FF horse, FFW. It's like DFW. Um, well, you're the guest. I want you to start. I know you have some crazy takes, so let's get bold. Let's get crazy. What are some? They don't have to be too crazy. They have to be within reach.
What do you mean? You don't want me to talk about Jordan Love winning the MVP?
Ooh, I think I like that. I'm on board. That's a perfect bold take.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my biggest reason for that is that there's nothing to do in Green Bay. I feel like people play better in Green Bay because there's less distractions. All you do is focus on
Ooh.
football. The last 8 games of the year, that guy was on fire. Like he was like the top second quarterback rating. I think their division its schedule is pretty weak, and so obviously they'll win some games. And I mean, the guy's he's been sitting there. He's been sitting and learning from the GOAT, from Aaron Rodgers, minus all the ayahuasca. I feel like it's just there. That's a bold take. I'll take it. To pick him up on your fantasy team. He has a bunch of receivers. Like that's the thing. When you have a bunch of no-name receivers, you really have the best weapons, right? Because you got to
Yeah.
force feed Stephon Diggs. You got to force feed anybody who's making $30 million a year. You have to force feed them, and they make catches, obviously. But I feel like the reason why like the Texans were so good last year is because you didn't know those guys. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, those guys just got on the radar. You didn't know if we did this last year, you would not mention one of those guys in this fantasy, this podcast.
Yeah. I think I love everything you're saying. You keep on rolling.
Yeah, so that's my take. I don't want to say anymore. That's it.
Okay. I think that's a perfect take. I think you brought up 2 important facts. The receiver having a force feed. That's like I wonder how impactful that is. Like we should do a study. How much better does a quarterback do? Like look, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady never had to force to anyone.
Yeah,
You know.
I think the best way to go is just like a packet of fives is better than one quarter piece, one silver dollar, right? And so, yeah, you need some Brandon LaFells out there, man. You need some Rushy Rices. You don't need a bunch of Larry Fitzgeralds. I mean, you do want Larry Fitzgerald, but you don't need Terrell Owens. Those guys complain when they don't get the ball. And there's this recent statistic I thought this is what you guys should know. Statistically speaking, once a receiver publicly says that he's disappointed with his target share, he gets force fed the next game. So that's just for any bettors out there. That's been I learned that from a guy who like studies all the in-depth trends that people don't know. And he was saying, statistically speaking, once a receiver like Stephon Diggs says, I'm unhappy with my target share, he then eventually gets 30 targets the next 2 weeks.
I love that. That was one of the best takes I've heard. I'm trying to find right now the MVP odds for season awards. There we go. What do we got here? Jordan Love. Wow, he's up to 14-1. I would have thought that would have been even higher.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do a long-term bet, I think if you're locking your money up for a year, don't lock it up for something that's 2-1. You want to lock it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're playing a lottery, baby.
But I thought Love would have been like 30-1. To be honest, he's one, two, three, four, fifth option. I would have thought your take was crazier, but apparently it's not as crazy as we thought.
I got it off Google right before the thing. I just like, hey, wow,
Chat
like
GPT.
No, I worked out with Jordan Love 2 years ago. He had his head on straight.
Really? I also love that take. Oh, that was the number 2 I was asking you. We should do a study about like how well players do in places where there's not as much distractions, we can say.
Think about it. That's why Buffalo always does good with like Buffalo running backs, because there's nothing to do but get drunk till 4 a.m. and sleep with fives. So like, how often can you do that there? Yeah. But in Miami, you're on a boat on Saturday, you got a game on Sunday. You can't play well. That's why Miami they don't do well.
Yeah, I always want to do an NBA betting study for when teams come to Phoenix and they have they stay the night before because they're out in Old Town or any other party city. I guess Miami is another good example. And if they're young, so like let's say it's a team of like married people, like who's an old team? The Lakers. Sure, maybe they're not partaking in Old Town Scottsdale.
I don't know. You can almost find it. Like LeBron James would do like a little LeBron James guest appearing with the Lakers at a party. They'll promote it, and maybe he stops after 10 minutes. But either way, it's like,
yeah,
But basketball is one of the things like, why can't you have a couple drinks if the game's on Friday? You're there on Thursday night.
Yeah, I feel it. And also when you're younger, I feel like you can do that. Like we used to get drunk and play the next day. Now I couldn't play like 3 days later if I wanted to.
I mean, some people are just drunken masters, man. Some people play better drunk. Who was it that said they would get a shot of whiskey at halftime?
I don't know.
I think Marshawn Lynch would drink before the game. He would take a shot of hen dog before the game.
Ooh, and then the Skittles.
Yeah.
What's his name? My favorite sports show I've ever seen was it was a white dude who played basketball from Boston. Ah,
Scalabrini?
no. It was like a guy you've never really heard of, but he was like
Rex
the
Chapman?
no. Anyways, he would do
Bro, if
drugs.
you're saying white guys that played basketball, first of all, it's an unproportional amount of white basketball players that play for the Boston Celtics. So, like, please make that make sense. And then when you say white basketball players, it's like 15 of them that are like name brand. So I feel
Uh,
like we can get to it. We'll find it. Just let's start shooting darts at the wall.
no. Chris Heron. He was a drug addiction. It's the greatest documentary you'll ever watch. Uh,
That's very
Unguarded.
very similar to Rex Chapman. Rex Chapman was like addicted to coke, and then he turned his life around as a
Quay.
Twitter star.
So Unguarded, he was like addicted to drugs, and he was on like opioids and stuff, and he wouldn't play a game without taking his drugs. And so there was like he was telling a story where he would go outside of the Boston Garden when he was playing for the Celtics because his dealer was late. So there he is, fans are going into the game, and he's waiting on his drug dealer. Gets him. He comes out of the tunnel covered, soaking wet, as his name's being called in the starting lineup. Like it was crazy. Chris Heron, Unguarded. Watch that.
I kind of like that. I don't like people playing at peak performance. I think they should have a whole separate league for like intoxicated, right? It's
Yeah,
just like instead of the big three, just do basketball, but like different drugs too. This guy's on Adderall. This guy just took a crystal meth pill. He's gonna be going pretty crazy. This next guy's 15 shots in, and you just like let him have some fun out there, man.
yeah, I like that. It's like how they want to do that steroid Olympics. This can be like the drug Olympics.
Just break out the records. That's a good,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
One of my breakout was the Packers are going to be they're going to be first in the NFC for the division. So it goes hand in hand with your MVP. And one of my points, to your point, was how they have a weak division. You know, the Vikings are in a rebuild, the Bears are in a rebuild, and I think are overrated.
Whoa, pause. Breaking news, all right? During the offseason, my brother was deciding between the Bears and the Miami Dolphins. And I was team Bears. And I was like, yeah, you need to go to the Bears. And I almost had him swayed. But Miami and his wife were like, she's like, I like Miami. We're there. And we can't be
Yeah,
wife. And the team is in a beautiful location. But the Bears, I was like, yo, if Caleb Williams is half as good as what they say he is, that defense is strong. They got a good receiving core. They play the weakest division in football. I mean, the weakest strength of schedule in football. Got like 9 primetime games. They could be good. And if you've seen Caleb Williams, he's a walking highlight reel. I thought he was going to be like, you can't do that in the NFL. He's doing it in the NFL.
against second stringers, against third stringers, I'm just not buying it.
They play harder because they trying to make the team.
They're not as good.
I mean, yeah, there's a couple guys that's going to be working at Walmart next year. But other than that, like, there's still, like, yeah, I mean, he's not playing against Jalen Ramsey, but still.
I don't know. I feel like just like you see in the NBA summer league, kind of same thing. Some guys will go off. I think I was saying he was going to be a bust. I've softened my stance a little bit on
He's
that,
not. Just because
but
you don't like the fact that he paints his nails. Just admit it.
no, that's fine.
That's
I
all
just
it
don't.
is. You're a football fan. Why does he keep painting his nails? And it's like, he's doing that because he's going to bust your ass. And he also wants you to
I,
be upset.
I appreciate that. You like guys who paint the nose. You also like that Kentucky
Yeah, that guy.
basketball player.
I forget his name, but he's hilarious because he's just singing. He does these lip syncs, and he's just like, and his lip songs are songs you would never hear. It's like it's White Chicks. Remember White Chicks when Terry Crews was like, "Do-do-do-do-do-do," and I need you. And because of
Yeah.
him, I'm learning songs I never knew. I'm like, oh, this guy got
Hmm.
some. Yeah, he's just listening to
Interesting.
like deep, like not even like Taylor Swift. Like Taylor Swift is universal. He's listening to
Yeah. Natalie
like
Imbruglia.
like girls who were in girl groups that broke off and have their solo album like that.
Hmm.
Like who's Fifth Harmony's third leading singer? Like that's the person he's singing. I'm like, what the hell? This song does go.
Like Dandy Kane, whoever broke off from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some Caleb Williams thoughts, but I'll just separate. He's not a winner. He didn't win at USC. USC is a good program. I know his defense was terrible, but still the Pac-12. If you can't beat the
Bro,
Pac-12, I didn't like they painted his fingernails with "fuck Utah" and then went out and got his ass beat by Utah.
Nah, he dropped like 7 touchdowns. I mean, it wasn't no ass whooping. It was like 42-49. It wasn't ass whooping.
They still
What can you
lost.
do? They got to put him at safety next time. You
Yeah,
can't blame him for that loss.
I still blame him. You can't throw "fuck
I
Utah"
think
on
I
your
think blaming
fingernails,
him for the loss is like blaming somebody. Is this more men watch this or women?
man. I don't
Okay,
know, maybe
all right,
women.
and this works. All right. Blaming Caleb Williams for losses at USC is like blaming someone for not getting no hoes at a bar that has 4 women, right? Like it's 2 of them together with somebody. It's like, yeah, he tried. I mean, he probably would have if it was a different circumstance, but you can't blame somebody for that.
I still blame them. I think that they're underrated in that bar. I just think the defense was bad, but he was playing again. He had no competition. So in that same instance, Caleb Williams is the only half good-looking dude in there. The rest of the people are all trash. He should be able to win.
There was nothing he could do to change the outcome. All right.
He could. And I just don't think if you were the number one unquestioned, that's if you went fourth or fifth and they're like, hey, Caleb Williams, he's going to be really nice. He's going to be a good player for years to come.
They
I just didn't
literally
like he was the unquestioned franchise quarterback.
They traded a guy they drafted in the first round 2 years ago just to make room for him. That's how good he is. That's how good he is.
That's why I'm off. He's the number one unquestioned quarterback since what's his name in Indianapolis?
All right.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. And let me just be honest with you, man. LeBron James, people hated on him because they thought he was overrated. He proved the doubters wrong. Caleb Williams. I'm on the Caleb Williams train.
LeBron James, you cannot compare those two. LeBron is a mental wizard. This guy's painting his fingernails with "fuck Utah."
23 years later, you can say that. I guarantee you. I know you, Fraser. When LeBron James was 19, you're like, this guy's the best ever. He's going to kill and change. You probably were like, overrated.
No, I was a fan. He was exciting. And he was just mentally there ahead of everyone. That's the big thing that makes LeBron LeBron, aside from him being a cyborg. But
in high school, you didn't know that. If you knew him in high school basketball IQ, you could translate to NBA basketball IQ.
You could see his passing and everything he did. Yeah, I feel like you watch a player and you're like, oh my God. Like,
people were like, look at these dunks. And like the fact that he's like literally 6'8" and just moving like Steph Curry back then. So like, yeah, but it wasn't like you knew he was going to be a leader and his leadership was there.
Don't think you can put.
I'm bookmarking this. I don't care if no one else watches this podcast. I'm bookmarking this and I'm going to show you years later your take on Caleb Williams and if it changes at all. If it changes at all, well, I'll be damned. I'm going to post this every day. Every day.
Yeah, no. I mean, I had him as like a surefire bust. Now I'm like a little bit softened, but
like Jamarcus Russell or like
no
5 years. Did he get 5 years?
Yeah, I think like who's like a me? Ooh, good question. I did have a comparison of what I thought he could be, but I totally lost it. Like a lesser Steve McNair or Donovan McNabb. Who's lesser than them?
Those are not busts.
Yeah, I know. Like a lesser than them. I don't know.
Like a John Kenta? Like a Mac Hasselback?
Yeah. All right, who do you got? Was it a second bold prediction?
All right, you ready for this?
Ready.
Anyone who plays fantasy football knows that tight ends are the winner of championships. If you don't have a star tight end, you're not going to win the championship. You may go far, but tight ends, the variation between tight ends is the difference maker. If someone's starting a tight end that's kind of mediocre, you're gonna lose compared to somebody who has Travis Kelce getting 22 points. So you have to get a tight end. Now, obviously, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, honestly, he's been taking steps back. T.J. Hawkinson, your guy, you love T.J. Hawkinson as we do. Those guys are high ranked. Everybody's on this guy, and I'm maybe joining the bandwagon. But this Trey McBride kid from Colorado State, that's on the Arizona Cardinals. I like him. In fact, I think the Cardinals are one of the most underrated teams. Now, keep in mind, last year or 2 years ago, they were like 10 wins, and I was like, definitely not getting that much. Kyler Murray is not trash. People are presuming to be trash because he's been injured and he's been working where he hasn't been great video games things, but he's being treated as if he is trash now. And I think Kyler Murray will be good. Trey McBride will be good. James Conner will be good. They're a fantasy team. If you don't have at least one Cardinal player on your roster, you're not winning the championship. I'll go on that. I'll stand. That's my second take.
Oh, wow. I like that you brought in the Arizona and the Colorado. So both of kind of your home states, you brought them into.
He's a Colorado State guy. Colorado State guys. Also, my bet for this week, and I don't know if this gets out here, Colorado State is not losing by 32. I called it 4 weeks ago. It was like 35, went up to 36, now it's down to 32. They're not losing to Texas by 32.
All right. I like it. I'm on board with the Cardinals. I think exactly like you said before, they're like a sell high candidate, where now it's all of a sudden gone way too far. And now I think they're like a buy low candidate. So I have them, their over under, I think, is like 5.5 or 6.5, which I got them over. Kyler Murray, to your point, since 2019 when he was drafted, fantasy football, he's been a QB5 in games played, which is outrageous. You don't think about that, right? I've always thought he was too small, but he does perform. I wish they had a defense. I think if they brought in like a couple
If,
defensive
if
players,
they have a defense, fantasy wise, they suck.
yeah,
You have to realize that half the reason is that they're trying to throw the ball and get out of garbage time.
yeah, that's a great point. I love that one. You're 2 for 2. Aside from Caleb Williams' take, which I could be wrong, I agree. You're 2 for 2. Um, all right, I've got Anthony Richardson will not finish the season as this Colts starting quarterback, and that does not include an injury. I'm just saying he's going to be replaced by Joe Flacco, and
Are
the
you looking for
Colts are
headlines?
going to be under.
Are you looking for headlines? Is that what you want?
No,
That's
guess
one of that's one of those takes that ESPN anchors make to get like views and like say something controversial just so people will like, what? That's so stupid. And like start engaging. It's like, oh, this guy's clickbaiting us in live TV.
guess what Anthony Richardson's completion percentage ranking out of all starting quarterbacks last year was.
I mean, in
His
his rookie year as a starter coming up for a team that has a bad offensive line, I imagine not necessarily high.
So where would you rank it? Like from starting at 1 would be
He
Mahomes
was
or
solid.
whoever.
I mean, they were coming back in games. I don't remember. I don't have Anthony Richards stats programmed in my.
Yeah, but what would you think if you had to guess in his completion percentage? Where would he rank on quarterbacks who
I mean,
started?
judging from the context you're giving me, it's probably 29th out of 32.
49th. I can't name 49 quarterbacks.
That's bullshit. They're taking backup.
That's how bad he is. No, people who started a game, he was 49th completion percentage. This man cannot throw a ball. Guess what his completion percentage was? Just a ranking in college football, his final year in college.
Yeah, but if they were bad, he just. I mean, yeah. If you're
So
talking about his
just
accuracy,
no, just take a guess. Just take a guess, just for funsies.
I don't think you like him because he's black. I'll say it. Yep. You're racist.
I hate Kirk Cousins.
You're a racist.
I hate Kirk Cousins.
No, you love Kirk Cousins. You love Kirk
I
Cousins.
absolutely hate Kirk Cousins.
You,
I
you,
also
you love Mac Jones. That's what you secretly have a Mac Jones tattoo on your lower
I
back.
don't think. Where is Mac Jones? Why can't I think about that?
Backup quarterback on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And always I
Oh,
know
that's
I
right.
watch a preseason game.
I love the Jaguars and their white quarterbacks.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is just as white as he gets, right? Trevor Lawrence looks like he's never. He looks like he's never even like listened to rap music. He's just like, yeah, who is this? Yeah, I like this song. It's Tupac. This is a pretty good song.
uh, but anyways, Caleb Williams was outside the top 150.
No, not
150 quarterbacks.
And Andrew.
Anthony Richardson. Yeah, Anthony Richardson. Sorry. Anthony Richardson was outside the 150 quarterbacks in college football. His final year for completion percentage.
But let's be honest. I haven't watched a Colts game in the last like 5 years. The last Colts game I think I've watched was when they played the Ravens and lost with Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just sorry. They don't play those games on national television. I'm usually at a football game. And so you're just looking at numbers. I am an eyeball test. I feel like so many people are basing their picks and their logic off numbers, which is not a terrible idea. But you can see the eyeball test. You're like, this guy's better than they think. There's some things you would notice that you're like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo is a bad quarterback. That may be why Devontae Adams is not getting the numbers he needs. But you put a better quarterback in there, it changes. And so Anthony Richardson may have been working with trash, man.
He's not, though. I'm just telling you, I watched him too. He did actually perform a bit better than I thought he would, but it was a lot of running, which set up play action. Now with a bunch of film on him, I think he's just going to be a bust, a full-on bust. Mm-hmm. He can't throw the ball. That's my take.
You're just giving out billboard material. I'm Anthony Richardson is watching this, and he's like, Fraser, Leve.
That's some little bulletin board material. I hope he's watching. I feel bad because I'm sure he's a nice guy. And one who's a racist is his owner.
Because you think he's going to listen to this?
You'll be a bust. You're going to be a bust, Anthony. I'm sorry. Even though you're more talented and you make more money and you're better looking, you're not better looking, but you've got a lot more going for you than I do. You're going to be a bust in the NFL.
Yeah. I feel like one day your son's going to grow up and be like, Anthony Richardson's my favorite player.
He'll be like a Packers fan or something, which I don't even care. The Vikings are so trash. I don't even care. You know,
I mean, Sam Darnold is revenge season, man. I feel like if there's anybody who has more to prove, and like he was a 5th pick overall, everybody calls him a bust. He's been on 5 teams now. Now he gets a chance to start. If there's one person you can circle to be like, this is all or nothing, it's Sam Darnold.
I'm with it. I'm hoping. I think he's got the pedigree, right? And I think
everybody's expecting him to be terrible. I think he has.
No, but I meant like he. He has a
There's no
pedigree in
risk for him.
college.
There's no risk for him. He got one of the best receivers, the highest paid receiver. Yes, everybody thinks he's going to be bad, and this is a redemption song. He's not a rookie anymore. He's played on different teams, like different scouts, schemes. I'm on the Sam Darnold will be good, and so you're a Vikings fan. You don't even like your own quarterback.
I'm taking them over. Their over under wins is 6.5, which is wild. I think I've got it in my one of my stats or one of my predictions is that he's going to be a top 15 quarterback. Right now, he's like 29th projected. And I'm with you. I think O'Connell's a quarterback whisperer. And when I said pedigree, I meant like he in college and stuff in high school, he has a pedigree to be a great player. Obviously, he's not a great player, but it's not some like undrafted trash. He's got skill somewhere.
Joshua Dobbs came on that team last year, and you would have thought that this guy's the star of this team. He's the next. This is a Kurt Warner moment. This is somebody got hurt.
That's what I thought. Oh, that's how sad it is to be a Vikings fan. Is I remember I forgot that he started for us last year, and then when I was like going through my notes, I was like, he also got excited, like, oh, maybe every team missed on him, including the Browns, and he is this diamond in the rough. And then we saw what happened. That's what it's like to be a Vikings fan, is you trick yourself into these stupid thoughts.
I don't think there's any more heartbreaking fan base than the Atlanta Falcons. I'm a bandwagon fan because my brother, for anyone not watching this, and I was okay. Don't judge me. Last year I was on the bandwagon of the Atlanta Falcons, and I got the experience what that team goes through year in and year out. And I was like, it's an abusive relationship. That team is winning majority of games. They find a way to lose games they shouldn't. Every year they start off hopeful that this is their year, and they end up missing the playoffs, but they only missed the playoffs enough to get like the 13th pick overall.
This is the Vikings.
The Vikings, I mean, they had the year with Stephon Diggs had the miracle, and they went to the NFC Championship.
Falcons, that was one time. The Falcons didn't they go to a couple Super Bowls?
They went to the Super Bowl, and they lost to the Broncos in heartbreaking fashion in like 99. They lost to the Patriots after blowing a 28-3 lead. I'm just willing to say, pound for pound, if you had a trauma off, a Falcons fan and a Vikings fan, I think the Atlanta Falcons traumas. Atlanta Falcons are so bad that the team owner makes the concession stand food like $3. Like he's putting Costco prices on the concession stand because he knows he's like, you guys will probably be heartbroken. At least have a chili dog on me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess the heartbreak that would be a good. I think the Vikings were right there. Like we had a year where Gary Anderson didn't miss one kick in the entire season. He was the greatest kicker to ever live, and then he had a kick to send us, and he missed. And this kind of stuff. But I agree, the Falcons-Patriots game has to be at the very top of the heartbreak.
Can you put polls on this? When you clip this part, I'll put a poll on it and go, who's a more heartbroken fan base, the Atlanta Falcons or Minnesota Vikings?
And I'm glad you put it like that, too, because like people say, oh, the Browns, the Lions. But it's like, no, because they always suck. To your point, at least the Falcons and the Vikings, they get like your hopes up and you get a little like half chub, and then they just fucking slice it off. Yeah,
and the Lions have a dome, but like the Browns are like, we want to like make you miserable. Like being a Browns fan is like getting in a cold tub, right? It's one of those things where it sucks, but it's gonna make you stronger, right?
Yeah.
I tell girls, if you're gonna date somebody, date a Browns fan because they're gonna stick around through misery.
Like, I guess, do you think there are any like girls you would date in Cleveland that are Browns fans?
No, I would never date a girl from Cleveland. Yuck. I'm joking.
You're gonna be like Charles Barkley with girls from San Antonio.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you had to put a scale on, make this a next clip: girls from San Diego, or girls from San Antonio, or girls from Cleveland.
Yeah, I would take San Antonio.
Girls from Cleveland drink beers. Like I feel like under 29, you might find some diamonds in the rough. After 30, any girl from Cleveland is eating chili dogs, drinking beers, and she starts to look like Melissa McCarthy. Should I not be saying this?
No, I'm all for it. I'm glad you're saying it because we're all thinking it.
No, I'm gonna get cancer one day. One day somebody's gonna bring this clip up, and I'm like, oh shit, I was drunk.
You're not allowed. Yeah, you're not allowed to call people chubby anymore, and you can't say they drink beer. It's like, I get it.
Disclaimer: I like big girls. I'm joking. Melissa McCarthy.
You do.
Yeah, I know she.
You do like big girls. Did you have another bold prediction? I think it's your turn.
I'm about to just come one up off the top of my head. Bold prediction: the Miami Dolphins win the Super Bowl.
Oh my god.
Actually, let me not do that. That's going to jinx it. Actually, my bold prediction do pretty well. Actually, I bet the Suns were going to go to the championship the year that he went to the championship.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins, all right, let's be honest, all right? They have the fifth worst strength of schedule. The team is getting stronger. I don't know how they're paying as many people. They must have more salary cap because they literally have the highest paid player on every team of every aspect. Jalen Waddle is like the fourth highest paid receiver. He's the second receiver on the team.
Hmm.
So you add that, they have two great running backs, two great receivers. Jonnu Smith, that's who I want to talk about. Jonnu Smith is going to be a steal. He's he's one of the fastest. He's like a receiver tight end. He's so fast. Like I watched a guy at like 38 years old on the Atlanta Falcons run like an 88-yard touchdown just taking off people. You add that with the Dolphins offense, the way they get in space, you get that guy a bunch of targets. He's going to get 15, 16 yards, yak yards every time he catches the ball. So I like Jonnu Smith to be a steal. That's a person to put that on tape. I think their defense is bulked up. The reason why the Dolphins didn't win last year, their defense was rather do. But then when they got Jordan at linebacker, Jordan Brooks, they got Calais Campbell to bulk up the defensive line. Obviously, their secondary added Poyer and Kendall Fuller. I think this team is going to shock the world. That's me saying this from a biased place. The thing that may hurt them is if they don't get home field advantage throughout the playoffs, going to someplace like Kansas City or Baltimore in January is going to suck for a team that's used to sitting on the beach on December with a pina colada with their shirt off. And so, yeah, that's my hot take. I don't like your nonverbal facial expressions as I say that. So fuck you before I finish.
Yeah, I don't buy. I buy. I can't say too much because obviously Calais is on the Dolphins. I don't want y'all to be upset, but Tua is just not it. He's like I
Whoa.
liken it to him being like a Madden player, like a computer player, and Mike McDaniels just has like the controller, and he's just if he drops the controller, Tua doesn't know what to do. He's 1-6 against winning teams last year with 7 interceptions and 6 touchdowns, or vice versa, and
He
he's
was
like 7-14 against winning teams. I watch every Dolphins game because my two of my best friends are Dolphins fans, and they just talk so much shit. So Calais going to the Dolphins was the worst thing that has ever happened to me in football because now I have to like not hate
Show
them.
the screenshots.
And so I've been a Dolphins hater more than probably anyone. But I watched every game Tua played, and he did not make one throw that every single quarterback, including the 49th completion percentage, Anthony Richardson, could not make. There was one nice throw he tucked in, like right here over the shoulder of Tyreek with a man on him. Aside from that, it was receivers 10 yards wide open. Now they can't do that bullshit running behind the line. There's more.
Why
Once
can't
they
they do
played,
that?
they changed the part of that rule where you can't be like in motion at a certain angle or something like that. But yeah, no more motion. They took that out.
No, Tua's great. I think he's underrated. Actually, I think there was a lot of hype with the tanking for Tua, and then he came in, and I think he talked about recently. Brian Flores hated him. Brian Flores was like, "You're not my guy," and he told him every day. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing this. I don't know if this is what he said, but apparently he was like, "You suck, bitch," and then he walked off every morning.
And one of it was funny. Tua crying about this. This is perfect Tua. Oh, I had like a football coach who was too hard on me. That's every football coach. Number one, you're not supposed to like your football coach. Number two, his father beat him with a fucking belt every time he threw an interception. You want to tell me that's not negativity, Tua? What are we doing here? You're going to blame Flores, but not your dad for beating you silly when you didn't play well?
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, it's hard to be great when your coach is like. Imagine. I mean, I like analogies here. Imagine a kid trying to be a great student, and every time his dad was like, "You can be dumb. You can be dumb like the rest of us." And then eventually, you're like, "I can't work in this environment." And you go get adopted by a nice little family that lives in the nice side of town, and they teach you to play football. And their little white son is like your best friend. He works on routes with you, and then you get really, really famous, and you make the NFL. And then when you make the NFL, that family makes a movie about it. When they make the movie about it, they show you as autistic and can't read, and they go, "Without us, he would be dead or in jail." And since we came in, he's now in the NFL. And they don't give you any of the profits of that movie, so you got to sue them after you leave the league.
That could happen, but what if you just really suck and you have the same winning record with that shitty family as you do with the new family?
You know, I was a plot line to The Blind Side, right? I don't know. You didn't address it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Did they say he was autistic though?
Yeah, they were like, he couldn't read. He was like, "Is this a stop sign?" You know.
Oh my god.
Whatever. I thought it was a slave movie. I didn't know.
I mean, it kind of is, right? It's like a modern day slavery. Am I allowed to laugh at this?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, good. Whatever happened to that? Like, what's been the outcome? Because last I heard it was a suing last year, right?
No, he's still suing. You know, that shit takes time, and they're rich. They're gonna drown it out. They're gonna be like, "You're gonna go broke before us," you know. By the time he gets awarded that money, it's gonna be given to lawyers.
I
Litigation
feel
fees.
I feel like if you don't believe in love, this is just one more reason to not believe in love or just happiness. Because like this is like the happy-go-lucky, oh amazing, and then you just turns into like one of the worst stories of all time.
No,
Like
I mean
that's heartbreaking.
as a football player watching that, and I mean, let's be honest, all right. If you grow up in poverty, at some point everybody has a blindside moment where you're like so good at football that some rich wealthy family starts to pour in and help you. Now maybe they don't move you in, but they're definitely like, hey, we're gonna buy you some workout shoes. Everybody, yeah, there's no way. So yeah, it's real. But at the same time, I was watching that movie and I was like, they doing a bit much.
Yeah.
Even the actor, I was like, I wouldn't like that casting choice if I was.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, marrying a woman or a man for money. It's like you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
It's gonna come when you marry for money, you earn every penny, as they say. So, yeah,
That's what they say.
um,
What did they say
yeah.
that?
They've just said it for a long time.
I'm trying. It's a new wave. Like I think, in the first time in history, men are marrying for money, right? You just find me a nice rich
Mm.
woman with a little bit of savings, and I want to be a stay-at-home husband. I want to play Madden with the boys. Then when she gets home, I'm like, oh shit, let me go here and put this DoorDash order in so the food gets here.
I've got a friend I play soccer with. He's like a really good looking dude. His wife's a lawyer, and they just travel all the time. And he's kind of like a half stay at home dad. It's Stephen
Yeah,
Boyle. Shout out.
I
Everyone
know.
knows
Yeah.
your game, and we respect it.
I know, but then you get caught cheating, and it gets a little bit more intensified, right? Like when you're rich, you're cheating. You're like, "What you gonna do? Leave me and go poor?" But
Yeah.
on the other side, you get
Well,
out.
s-
Actually,
by
you
the
get
way, yeah, this is what girls do. By the way, Steven would never cheat, just so we're sure. Jared doesn't even know Steven, so he wasn't
yeah, I mean,
insinuating that
now
Boyle would
Steve
cheat.
thinking that you bring Steven up. I was talking about my side, man.
Shit. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yo, I was just doing a video about how bad those are going to be. I've never heard
Oh,
a better
no.
take in my life.
I just think, and again, this is like a bold prediction. I just think everyone's out on Josh Allen, and it's just they forget he's Josh Allen. I've never been a big Josh Allen super fan or anything like that. I think he tries to do too much. I think he tries to play a hero ball too much, but he reined it in last year. He's been a top 2 quarterback in the league for like arguably for what the last 3-4 years,
All
top
right,
3 at least. They've also not won less than 11 games in like 5 years. Like they go 11 and whatever and 13 wins in the
all right,
last 4 years.
all right. Can I rebuttal? Let me know when you're ready to rebuttal
And
because I've been doing
yeah,
this.
that's fine. And then also to your point, which you brought up, he spreads the ball around, which is much easier to do when versus having to Diggs. His the NFC championship, or sorry, the AFC divisional game and the AFC wildcard game, he had 10 different receivers in the first game. In the second round of the playoffs, Gabe Davis obviously didn't catch a ball, so it's not like he matters. And Diggs was like 5th or 4th in receiving in that game. So he doesn't need Diggs. He needs to spread the ball around, which he's going to do. Their defense, sadly, is down. So when they were doing really well, they had a ridiculous defense.
Yeah.
But I just think people just sleep on it's a quarterback league. He seems to be a generational quarterback. And that's why I think I want the Chiefs to win. I'm a big Mahomes fan, Texas Tech. I love the Chiefs. I'm just saying if I had to have a bold prediction, maybe this is the year they come out of that side and win.
All
And
right.
everyone's down on them. Everyone's down.
No, they're going to be terrible this year. I
Oh.
think 11 wins is their win total. Is not going to hit that by far. I think Stephon Diggs is a one of a kind receiver that was actually making Josh Allen look great. Go look at that team before Stephon Diggs got there. Wasn't good at all. Yeah, the last couple of years they've been doing well. They lost their whole defense. Jordan Poyer, Michael Hyde. I mean, Von Miller's like 46 at this point. Milano, the linebacker, they're hurting as a defense this year. Their leading receivers are now going to be Khalil Stevens and Curtis Samuels. I don't know if
Shakir.
Khalil Shakir. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, that's how bad he is. You only know him because it's like, who's this guy got 3 touchdowns when I got Diggs on my team? But if you ever drafted Curtis Samuels in the first 3 rounds of a fantasy draft, you realize he's not that guy. He's just not. I'm sorry.
That's true.
James Cook is supposed to be Dalvin Cook reincarnated. I don't think that's the case. And this is my thing about Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the only quarterback in the NFL that doesn't know how to slide. He literally is hitting linebackers and acting like he's a big guy, but eventually that's going to fail him. He can't keep doing that. And if he misses any time, that team is going to be terrible. And I just feel like the Buffalo Bills are due for bad. And this is my thing. I'm blaming Bills Mafia. I'm blaming Bills. They're a
Ooh.
victim of their own success. You just said it best. They've been winning 11, 20, 10, 13 games. And what happens when you win games? You celebrate. What happens when you celebrate? You make love. And when you make love, you have babies. And when you have babies, you realize jumping off a roof through a burning fucking table is a dumb idea. And I think that Bills Mafia got soft. They got soft because they've been winning. They're not out there eating ass at the tailgate no more. They're out there they're with kids now. And I think that that's why Buffalo's going to be bad. I don't think Buffalo has it anymore. They're a victim of their success, and they're due for a bad game. A couple bad years. I want Bills Mafia back. I want people missing teeth. I want people that look like they never have kids and don't have sex. That's what I want.
Maybe just sex with protection or pulling out.
No, in Buffalo, if you ever been to Buffalo, I've only been to Buffalo once, and it was enough to know I never need to go back. When I went, they didn't have Uber. The bar stayed up until 4, and
Ooh.
there's like 5 bars. Their goal is to get you drunk enough that you will make love to a woman that looks like,
Someone from Buffalo.
yeah, like I mean, I'm gonna give you an exact. She looks like Larry the Cable Guy with a wig. Like that's the kind of
Ooh.
women you, yeah, that's the kind of women you're getting in Buffalo.
Worst women, Cleveland or Buffalo?
Thing about it is probably Buffalo. Just no one's ever been there to fully know, right? Can you go? Is there Miss Buffalo? Can we look at what Miss Buffalo looks like?
Ooh.
Miss Buffalo's definitely got some love handles, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Damn, I'm getting canceled for this show, man. Don't put
No,
that.
I don't think cancel. I just think we're gonna. I like it. We're gonna irate Buffalo and Cleveland, which I'm fine with. No one, like you said, no one really cares.
I mean, yeah, those guys are used to it. They take.
They probably don't even have the internet. To be honest, they probably won't even see this.
Yeah, they don't. They're not podcast guys. To tell you that, they're still FM radio.
Yeah, they're FM radio or they're watching like the same ESPN First Take. They
Yeah,
don't know anything else. Will
there's
Bond. They're watching
there's
Will
no
Bond.
speakeasies in Cleveland. I'll tell you that right
No.
now. Those guys are like, just give me a beer. Why do I got to go through a refrigerator?
This is all valid points. All valid points. Do you have any other bold predictions or teams you're fading?
The Saints are going to be terrible. Absolutely terrible. They
They're
got
hard to pick. Like I don't understand. Well, I was doing my power rankings. I have no idea what to think because they're not good, but somehow they always do well. You know, they've won 4 of the last 5 divisions or something like that. Like,
well, that's what they were a decent team back in the day. Obviously, when Kamara was good, and you had Michael Thomas playing well. Drew Brees only retired like 2 years ago, so like, yeah, you're using that factor. Taysom Hills, I think, is.
But they won the division last year, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
Oh no, they lost. They were leading until the last game.
Yeah, they're going to be bad this year. Derek Carr is not it. I hate to say it. This sucks that you have both brothers kind of be bust. It's just it's rare. I'm not saying that family's probably their mother's probably a great woman, but Derek Carr is not. He's not it. Michael Thomas has kind of took a step back. Alvin Kamara, at some point, you stop being that guy when you realize your heart's broken, that team's not going anywhere. Their defense is bad. They got a lineman. One of the guys I was a scout I know told me that the lineman they drafted in the first round 2 years ago, I forget his name. I don't want to say it out loud because he might be great. But he told me that guy's the worst football player he's ever scouted. And the fact that they drafted him in the first round says that their scouting team is terrible. And with that being the case, yeah, I think the Saints are going to be bad.
Also got me thinking what you said about Kamara and just heartbroken, doesn't care. Josh Jacobs, I think a big thing, like especially any athlete, you obviously when you are excited, you want to play well. Running back's the worst position in all of sports, and he's running through a wall for the awful ass Raiders. Now he's playing for the Packers. I can only imagine he's going to be like he led the league in rushing 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, he was them contract years. He was going dumb, and now AJ Dillon's hurt, I believe, right? So I feel like he's going to be a workhorse.
And I think AJ Dillon, like enough's enough. Everyone was in love for AJ Dillon for his first 3 years. It's like he's shown us who he is. He's like a running back Kyle Pitts with less hype.
Yeah, I mean, he just has those hamstrings, those thighs of his, man. I just want to bet on him like that. I want to root for people that look like they can run through a wall, like the juggernaut.
Yeah, that's why you like thick women. You also like your men with thick thighs.
I don't look at it. It's different. It's a different mindset.
It seems a little bit of the same. Different, but the same.
I'm going to get your podcast canceled. You ready?
Don't do that. No. What other any other teams you're fading or selling or buying, sorry?
What's up?
Any other teams you're like buying or fading, like huge ones that stick out? You're like, what the hell is everyone thinking?
I hate to say this. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to take a step back. They're due to regress. I think one of the heartbreaking losses that you have, it makes it hard for teams to rebuild that confidence. When you get that close and you blow it like that, they got dismantled on their line because they had to base so many players that they couldn't really bulk up on that. Ronnie
Yeah.
Stanley's their highest paid lineman, but the rest of those guys are kind of eh. They lost Patrick Queen, they lost Clark, they lost a bunch of weapons on defense. I think they're a solid coach team. They have the right coach and the right thing. It's just going to be hard to duplicate that success that they had last year. And so, as much as it hurts me to say it, because that's like a family, I feel like that's one of the best fan bases in all of football. I would just don't think they can resemble 12 wins like they did last year.
Yeah, I think they're like a much better version of the Dolphins where they can go real well in the regular season, but we see what happens in the postseason.
No, they should have
Yeah, I
won it.
think.
If he doesn't fumble, they beat the Chiefs, and then
Yeah,
they're favorites in the championship. So
yeah.
don't give me that. They're not good.
I don't know that. I mean, that you can say that about the Bills. If the Bills didn't do one thing, they'd be in the Super Bowl. I mean, you can say that until you win.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't not do one thing. He literally, if that ball gets knocked out a second later and he actually scores that touchdown, that's not like that's a whole nother game.
But they didn't win, did they? No, I feel you. I think as long as Lamar's healthy, I hope and think they'll stay the same. But like you said, a lot of losses. Derrick Henry, I think that'll be interesting because he's 30, but he's still one of the greatest athletes of all time. So I mean,
I'm out on running backs. 30-year-old running backs, it sucks. I hate to say it, but once you get to a certain age as a running back, you just are not as effective.
I
And
think
that's
though 31 is the new 30 or 32 is the new 30. You know, the medical like now quarterbacks can play till they're
think
40.
about Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's like 29.
Yeah,
Dalvin Cook 4 years ago. You're a Vikings fan.
yeah,
Unreal. Dalvin Cook
unstoppable.
last year. I hate to say it. I could have did what he was doing out there.
That was so weird. Like I can't believe he fell off that giant of a cliff.
You
Like that
just
was
get
the biggest cliff
older.
I've ever seen.
You get older. You know, you lose steps. And you're a little
Hmm.
more fragile. You can't move like you used to because you injured.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
I mean, I think
if I was
yeah.
ever a GM, I would just draft a running back from like max school every fourth round and just start him here and just replace him. Just
Well, that's what the Patriots do, right?
go on to the next team. That's what I
The,
would do.
the Patriots just always had like random ass running backs. All the good teams, I feel like, do that. They
Just
don't.
league minimum guys. I want league
Yeah,
minimum guys.
exactly. Run through a wall, know how to pick up a blitz, and that's all you really need.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, I've got. What do you think about the Chargers? Everyone's all in on the Chargers, which makes me scared to love the Chargers. And when I say all in, that they're just going to be completely revamped this year with Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh has the fifth highest coaching win record in the NFL history, which is kind of insane.
I mean, the 49ers seem to be good regardless, right? I think Mike
Hmm.
Singletary was great there before he got there, and he got a lot of credit. And then you
Yeah,
have, I mean, shit, look what Kyle Shanahan's been doing since he's been there. 49ers have been just between the owner being a great owner and the fact that they get a lot of resources put into them, to the fact that it's a fun city that people like going to. The fan base is great. I just felt like I don't think Jim Harbaugh's NFL record has done anything than any other coach that was with 49ers before or after.
interesting. With I like your thought about owners. What do you think? I don't even know how to quantify it. What percentage does an ownership have on how well their team does? Because I think we see obviously shit owners, shit franchises. Carolina right now,
So
the
what happens
Jaguars.
is, I mean, obviously, that the Dan Snyder thing was really bad because, like, when people don't
Hmm.
like you, it's hard for them to work hard and try to make you great, right? It's a bitterness. I've recently heard that like cheaper owners are more difficult to play with, and a cheaper owner is somebody who makes their money from the franchise, and so therefore they don't have any other money, and so therefore they are afraid to. That's why I'm a big fan of Arthur Blank. He owns all the Home Depots, and he pours money to that franchise, which makes the people want to play for him. Obviously, the Ravens have a great owner. The Cardinals owner, the Bidwell family, is a team that needs money. And the NFL just recently passed a rule. I don't know if it's going to go through liquidation and take it back, where some owners can now sell up to 10% or even more than that to private equity firms to make money. So therefore, they can have more cash flow to build better facilities. But yeah, if you have a trash owner, your facilities suck. The team makes decisions based on what's to make the most money, not what's the best for the team. And with that being the case, they just don't do well.
Yeah, no, great take. Because you definitely see it out there. Anecdotally, you just look and like trash owners, they do bad. But I'd be interested, like the actual mathematics. I'd love to see a study done on how much it does well. And like you said, the Niners are great. The Warriors, great ownership. They do well across the board. Yeah. I always hated the Cleveland owner, the Cavs. And
Yeah,
aside from when they didn't have LeBron, they've always done trash. So,
yeah.
yeah.
My goal is one day I want to be a team owner. not an American team owner. I just want to own a franchise somewhere in like a soccer club and shit.
Yeah,
Fun. What's the lowest level where you lose our game, you get pushed down to the lowest level?
you relegated. You just keep on getting relegated. There's
Yeah.
multiple different levels.
What's the bottom? What's the floor?
I don't even know. In English soccer, there's like a seventh floor, seventh or sixth, maybe
I
even
just want to
more.
own one of those teams and just root for them, baby. Every week in and week out, have that same investment.
You should just crowdsource an arena football league team and just get everyone to bid in. Then they're part of it. They're part owners. I've looked
Yeah.
into it. It can work. It can
Let's
work.
get a pickleball club. Let's invest in a pickleball squad.
Kickball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big too.
All right. My phone keeps blowing up, man.
Yeah,
It's my birthday, and so everybody's texting me. Yeah, I did this for
that's
you.
your birthday.
It's my birthday.
Yeah, this actual day. I thought it was like September.
No, it's August 30th. I'm sure the group chat will mention it at some point.
Oh, I'll mention it right now in the group chat.
I don't want you to do it. I don't want you to do it. I want to wait and see who would know if I didn't tell them.
You want to sulk?
Yeah, and then I want to wait till the 31st and be like, "Fuck every one of you guys."
Okay. All right, we can do that. Do you have like a favorite bet before you go? Give us like one or three favorite bets that you have for the year.
Other than the
Future
Bills,
bets.
under total wins, and Jordan Love possibly to win MVP. Feature bets. I like the Bears actually to win the NFC North.
Hmm.
Um, I think player prop wise, I think the under on TJ Watt sacks is 14 and a half. And of course, TJ Watt's a monster, but 14 and a half sacks is
Mm-hmm.
an amazing season already. He's been injury plagued, and I don't think that number is going to hit, just given the fact that that team's probably going to be down. So therefore, teams will run the ball more. And even if they get to a point where, I mean, Mike Tomlin's a great coach, and they've been somehow staying above 500 his entire career. But if they get to a point where like they're 5-7, they're going to sit him down. I don't think there's no reason to keep him playing. So under 14 and a half total sacks as a prop bet for TJ Watt is a solid play if you want to lock your money up for the year.
Did TJ Watt sleep with someone like an ex of yours or a girlfriend you're dating? I feel like that was a very obscure thing to just like shade TJ Watt out of nowhere.
No, TJ, I just think 14 and a half sacks is a shit
Yeah,
ton of
that's a
sacks.
lot.
And I just think for it being on a bad team to get that many sacks, that's going to be very hard to do.
I also love that this podcast I couldn't have gone better because I think we disagreed on almost everything, which is crazy. I took the Bears to miss the playoffs. That was my biggest financial bet.
And I tell you this is my thought process. I read an article recently that sports betting, people are not investing in the stock market like they used to because they're spending their money on sports betting. It's kind of the
I
new
saw
wave.
that.
And I think that we're close to like hedge funds for sports bets, right? Because I know a couple guys are like, this guy's a wizard. He knows like all the things that you would not know. And I think it's a safer play because when I bet, my problem is not picking the right bet. It's stopping after I pick the right bet. But if I could put $1,000 to someone to bet for me, and in December or January, he's like, here goes 1,500. That's a win. And I feel like that's the new wave is sports betting, hedge funds. Yeah. You want to start one?
I feel like that takes away like my excitement to bet myself, just
Yeah,
like
just
someone
make
else is doing it.
profits. Oh, you're doing it for the drug. You don't care about the money.
I make the money too. I'd rather not. I'm on a plus side.
That's why I asked you to start the hedge fund.
All right. I'd feel bad. That would be terrible to be like the hedge fund owner. I couldn't imagine losing people money. Like they would come and kill you.
You got to be smart. It's not like, hey, I got all the money invested on the Eagles +3. Like,
Yeah.
no, you were just like, hey, if you bet, the best sports bettor can handicap at 70%. If you handicap at 70%, that's like a 25% profit at the end of the year.
I thought like the sharps aren't they only like +5 or 10% or something like that?
I mean, I think the best ones to go at like 70%, like 68.
No way.
Yeah,
I think they're
best.
at like 55, 60%.
And you had the fig, so that's what helps you. But like, no, I think we're close. I know a guy. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want anybody going to poach it from me. He was like so good at like looking at like assist potentials and have playing time, and like he's the one that told me this stat about the target share of people after a receiver publicly complains about his not lack of getting attention. The statistically showing they get like a 50% higher rate of targets the next 2 weeks. So So you guys hit me up if you want to join my hedge fund. I'm still working on it, but yeah, hit me up if you want to get into it. Just give me $1 million, and I promise you, when you get back, you'll have $1,000,000.
I like that. That's a good returns.
I'll make you $1,000 off $1 million. If you give me $1 million, I'll get you $1,000 profit, guaranteed.
Okay, that's a good guarantee. Maybe they should put that in the stock market. Don't listen to Jared. Just kidding.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Well,
if you
yeah,
get $1,000 off the stock market, that's good. But I'm just saying, I mean,
it's
with $1
true.
million, you could bet Alabama money line against some FSTC team. You'll make $1,000 off a million. Now, who was going to take that bet from you? I don't know. You might have to go to Italy and find a mob boss. But
That's true. Drake keeps on killing everyone. By the way, speaking of bad bets, I want to vocalize it out there that Drake stopped betting on everyone's favorite player and then just murdering them.
oh, you're Canadian. Well, I'm not supposed to do this shit. I forgot, man. We don't fuck with Drake over here, man. He not like us. You not like us, bro.
All right. Well, this was the Fraser LeVay podcast. Faneverland.com. Not, what was, you called it, bigbootyhose.com or something weird.
No, it's fantasy
Bunny
football
chicks.
whores.
Oh, fantasy football horrors.
That's what you are. You're a fantasy football whore.
Yeah. And faneverland.com. Jared, thanks for coming on. We'll have to do another one in like a couple weeks or something. See how we're looking.
I got you. Yeah. Don't
All
get me
right.
canceled. Whoever watches this, I'm sorry. I was joking.
No, you can't say. Didn't you tell me I couldn't apologize? You don't apologize. I didn't apologize to Anthony Richardson. You don't apologize to the ugly men and women in Buffalo and Cleveland.
I need money. I can't survive cancellation.
That's fair. All right. See you, buddy.
I appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers.